Anyway, right, shall we go outside? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Studio 5. This is where I work. It's called Studio 5 because it is Studio 5. It's a nice sort of back part of London, southwest London, in a very beautiful place called Barnes. I work in an environment of old muse properties, and we've got ceramic artists, stained glass artists, recording studios, what else? Art studios. We've got drapers, milliners, and we've also got an aeroplane going overhead. It's London, it's a city, it's like this. Anyway, this is Studio 5, and let's go in. It's a small place, as you'll probably realise. I've got a few trays of type, because I do quite a lot of printing, and then as we go into the studio, I'd love to be able to say it's usually tidier. This is tidy. You know, I've got the basic stuff. I've got a small little guillotine, coffee machine, guillotine, board chopper, some more trays of type, and then cloth, inks, print stuff, cupboards with adhesives in, print racks, and then up on the what grandly called mezzanine level.
Okay, that's a nice storage.
That's cool, isn't it? Grandly called mezzanine level, book cloths, dead parrots, kimonos, all sorts of stuff, printing machines.
I also saw some Lowett's vertical plows there.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Well, we've got a vertical plow. Then I've got various other plows. You can just see one up there in the top skylight. I've got about 4 or 5 sort of plows with presses, because people need to know the traditional way of doing things, and of course the modern way of doing things. And then this is where my bench. This is where I'm usually working and doing my stuff. Got a small press just down there for making miniatures. Tiny, sweet little thing.
Oh, that's really nice.
It is, isn't it? It's made out of tank parts from the Czech Republic. That's cool. And then I've got a copy press just there as well, which is good for cool work. The usual sort of presses. Sewing machine. Well, you've got to. Then this is sort of work that's ready for collection and commission work that I'm working on at the moment. So I've got about 6 or 7 commissions I'm working on. Yeah. This is some restoration work that I've been doing. You know, there is an old book, just to show that I do work on old books and do restoration work. This is, we'll look at this perhaps a little later on, but this is one of the cabinets with some of my work in, and some books which I think are quite nice and important, but we'll look at those later on.
I saw some Russian there.
Well, just that.
It says art for children.
Yes, it's because we're all children in art. I'm trying to get out of that one desperately. You'll see splashes of paint everywhere because we do paint. Then there's pre-C19. I perhaps have work areas for 4 people, but that's going to be turned down to 2 people now. Then I've got storage and cabinet. This is cuisine corner with the microwave that a lot of conservators will be very familiar with. Then just this is at the moment, but it would obviously be cleared down, but this is sort of the working environment. So I do have work that's sort of around. So I feel that a place should be stimulating, should be interesting. This is stretched paper ready for an artist book that I'm working on at the moment. And that's a large sheet of stretched paper. Pressing boards, foam, a big sign that says books, which disappears up into the roof. More book cloth. You can never have enough book cloth. Frame, print racks. The occasional birdcage. Why not?
Is it for birds or for something else?
Very small students that misbehave. Then blocking machine. Light boxes, plan chests. I've got about 5 plan chests knocking around. A ukulele that I'm working on at the moment, decorating a ukulele. A friend and student of mine gave this for my birthday present. Make your own ukulele. So I've been working on that, as if I'm not busy enough. Typewriters. I love typewriters. Oh, look, another bird cage with a woodpecker attacking a dirty old brown book. Conservators will now be wincing. Posters that I've managed to acquire from events I've attended. That's the Man Booker Prize for Fiction 2005. Big poster, did manage to liberate that. Screen printing kits, more typewriters, more presses, work that I'm working on at the moment. This is very recently been finished. This is a triptych, and this is, so I just opened this up. This is more about looking at different aspects of the book. If we look at the history of the book with diptychs, triptychs and polytychs, this is a contemporary sort of manifestation of that. And again, we've got a little bit of collage work happening down here, which is perhaps what people may know my work is about. A manipulated, antique-ish photograph of somebody. I don't know who they are. If it is your relation, do phone in. Some more down here as well. Books for research, very important. What else? That's about the studio. More stuff down there. And that's about it. That's Studio 5 in a nutshell, because it is basically in a nutshell. It's a very small place, but we do try and pack it in.
Well, small but functional.
I can't imagine more than one person working there at a time. And you said 4 people working there.
Yeah, well, I do specific. There used to be, before I started spreading out, because students in, there would be 4 working places in here. Because if you go to an average bindery in London, for example, the most expensive thing is space, and it is a luxury to have bench space. So what I do, and quite purposefully, is to say, right, fine, if you outspan your arms, that's the maximum distance of your work area. That's as far as you can work. So literally from, fingertip to fingertip, you don't need any more. And, it's about your outstretched hand out. That's the size of an average work area. Everything else, you're not going to be using. So, and it also teaches the students to keep their benches tidy, to be able to work with space. Because, so many people say, oh, there isn't enough space. Well, tidy up. That's the answer. Then there's under storage as well, with lots of other stuff happening. So that's about it. And this is my laying press, single screw laying press, which is just down underneath the bench here. And that's it. Finishing equipment and all sorts of stuff is, it's in drawers, it's in cupboards, it's, everything's where it should be. Bins full of leather. Yeah, this is about it, really.
What is the oldest tool in your workplace? I think the press looked antique.
Oh, what's the oldest piece of kit in the studio?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a very good question. The presses are quite old. I'd say they're about 120 years old, the nipping presses. This press, I've got a press down here in pieces. This is a standing press. You can see the top platen here and the base platen here. That's a big standing press that I got from London College of Printing. And for those of us who are familiar with the Arthur Johnson Manual of Hand Bookbinding, when he mentions a standing press, that is the press that was photographed. That's about, I'd say that's about 100 years old as well. But I suppose looking at some of the hand tools I've got, they would be perhaps some of the oldest, which are lurking down here. So I don't know if you can just see down here, but for those of us who say he doesn't do any tooling, I do. That's these handle letters here are at least 120 years old, at least that I do know. Stuff was made to last, and looked after. They will do. So that's basically it. Some of the type is quite old as well. I mean, we go on to trays of type, various point sizes, various faces and things. But that's it. And, basically that's it. I mean, work hanging from the print racks is varied and many. The newest piece of kit I suppose I've got is, well, barring the computer, is the board chopper,
Mm-hmm.
which is a nice piece of kit to have. Maybe the guillotine.
I'm always impressed how people fit in the board choppers in their small workshops, and sometimes it's really small space. Like we had a podcast with Eliana Gomez, a book restorer from Haarlem here in the Netherlands, and she has a total of 9 square meters in her studio, and there's a board chair there. So yeah, and that's just, she uses it for so many things. She stores stuff inside under the table.
Yeah.
She works on the table when she needs to do some work, and
yeah. I mean, the thing is that nature dislikes a vacuum, and you ask any bookbinder, any artist, they will quite happily fill that space. So yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I occasionally purge the studio of things that I know I haven't used for a long time, and I think I will throw that away. And of course, a week later, you're looking for it, and you think, I know it's around here somewhere. I saw it, and then you remember throwing it out. And so, you've got all these different things lurking around that will maybe one day be very useful, but probably never. So there we go. So yeah. So I'm sort of don't like throwing things out, basically.
I guess it's really hard to keep all the things when you have a studio for 17 years.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I look around at what I've got. When I first started, I literally had a stool, a radio, and a very small table with a couple of hand tools. And that was it. I didn't get any grants or anything. I started with nothing, and built up from there. I mean, it's a question of taking over the world sometimes, I feel, but there you go. So that's that. In the bookcase, some of my sort of favorite books. I've recently just got a couple of books that I've borrowed from a collector that when I was doing my sort of online summer exhibition, again in Facebook. So those are here ready for collection. And that's about it, really. That is the basis of Studio 5.